Welcome to another episode of Miami Cop Talk. Visit us at MiamiCopTalk.com. With us is Robert Asensio and Raul Correa discussing the latest issues in public safety, law enforcement, what's in the news with invited guests. And again, visit us, help us grow our audience. We are one community, one voice. And let's get ready to start another episode of Miami Cop Talk.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Nancy Lother of New Era Alliances, and I am here today with a special report on a brand new bill that was proposed last week in the House Judiciary Committee, which passed that Judiciary Committee without any objection whatsoever and is now headed for consideration on the House floor. This is House Bill 7051. And its title is Law Enforcement and Correctional Officer Practices. And this is a bipartisan bill. Its sponsors are Republican Representative Cord Byrd and Democratic Representative Fentrice Driscoll. Those who waved in support include the following group of widely divergent groups: the Florida PBA, the Florida Police Chiefs Association, the Florida State Fraternal Order of Police, the American Civil Liberties Union, the Florida State Conference of NAACP branches, the Florida Sheriff's Association, the Florida Conference of Catholic Bishops, the Southern Poverty Law Center Action Fund, and the Florida Smart Justice Alliance. So, what did all of these particular disparate groups get behind? Why does this bill have such bipartisan support? Let's go into some of its provisions. The first is any applicant for a law enforcement or correctional officer position disclose any pending investigation for criminal, civil, or administrative wrongdoing, and further, whether or not that applicant has separated or resigned while under investigation. There is another provision that is related, namely that employing agencies must keep employment information for at least 5 years after the resignation, termination, or retirement of an employee. There are some new sections to the law, and that is, first of all, basic skills training related to use of force. Now there are specific definitions of chokehold and excessive use of force that will be formulated. And furthermore, the commission in charge of law enforcement officer training and correctional officer training must establish standards that include alternatives to the use of force, the duty to intervene if another law enforcement officer is misusing use of force, the duty to render medical assistance if someone is in need in the wake of a use of force, and the recognition of people with substance abuse or mental disorders before any decision regarding use of force. Another new section of the law would entail investigations into use of force under the following circumstances. First, when a death or an intended discharge of weapon results in injury or death. And furthermore, there is a provision where the investigation would be in the hands of an independent third party, for example, an agency other than the agency in which the use of force occurred, or an officer other than someone who is internal, or a state attorney. These would all be third-party independent investigators empowered to act in use of force cases. There is another new section where data would be collected regarding the use of force throughout the state. And then the final new section of this bill is an incorporation of what has been called the Kaya Roll Act, which would establish age 7, as the minimum age of arrest. You may recall that in the Kaya Roll case, there was a 6-year-old who was arrested. There was a video involved that caught the attention of the public. What I most want to emphasize about this bill, however, is that this is a response to the activities, in particular, and concerns of the last year or so since the death of George Floyd. It combines bills that were left unheard and that have been proposed by members of the Black Caucus, while also addressing concerns of law enforcement and correctional officers. So this is a groundbreaking bipartisan effort. It arose only last week in terms of its formal proposal in the House, though I would imagine that legislators behind the scenes have been working on this with stakeholder groups since the beginning of session or even before. And now the next step, if and when this bill is calendared and passed by the House, it is therefore the turn of the Senate to act upon this. We have very little time left. April 30th is the scheduled last day of the legislative session. And so we will try to see whether, first of all, the entire House passes this bipartisan effort, and then whether the Senate goes along as well. Once in the Senate and passed by the Senate in identical form to that passed in the House, it would, of course, go to the governor for signature. But given the variety of stakeholders that stand behind this particular bill, that encompass both the civil rights community and law enforcement stakeholders, I see no particular obstacle at the moment for this bill's passage. So this has been a special report on House Bill 7051. Again, the bill is entitled Law Enforcement and Corrections Officer Practices. And we will continue to follow this legislation. Thank you again, Nancy Lawther from New Era Alliances.
You have been listening to Miami Cop Talk. We hope you have enjoyed this episode, and visit us at MiamiCopTalk.com to get the latest on all our broadcasts. We want to thank our partners and sponsors that have made Miami Cop Talk possible. And on behalf of Robert Asensio and Raul Correa, we want to thank you for listening to Miami Cop Talk. Stay connected and visit us at MiamiCopTalk.com.